stories of strength, healing, and hope come to life. I'm your host, Davina Lyons, also known as Mama Lyons, and this space is dedicated to amplifying the voices of those who've turned pain into purpose. Each episode, we dive into real conversations about courage, self-discovery, and rising stronger than ever. So lean in, take a deep breath, and be inspired by the incredible voices of resilience, because every story has the power to heal. Welcome back to another powerful episode of Voices of Resilience. I'm your host, Davina Lyons, aka Mama Lyons, and today we are holding space for a story that is both tender and beautifully transformative. My guest, Nyla Wright, is a woman whose strength has been shaped through love, caregiving, heartbreak, and purpose. She is a devoted mother, a proud grandmother, and the compassionate founder of I For It Organizing, where she helps individuals, especially seniors, create peace, comfort, and clarity in their homes and lives. For 33 years, Nyla cared for her daughter, Sakysha, navigating disabilities, health challenges, and the kind of unconditional love that changes you from the inside out. That journey taught her resilience, patience, and a depth of compassion that now flows into everything she does. Today, she's here to share her story, how organizing became a healing tool, how purpose emerged from pain, and how her daughter's legacy continues to guide her work and her heart. This conversation is one of courage, reflection, and honor. So settle in, take a breath, and join me in welcoming a remarkable woman whose story will touch you deeply, Nyla Wright. Welcome, Nyla.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi. How are you?
You know, we met
Yeah.
years ago, and I had no idea that one day we'd be having this conversation. But I kind of knew because I was in your home and it was beautiful.
Thank you.
And I was blessed to meet your daughter. And
Yes,
so
I did.
I knew of your resilience. I was very aware of it. Over the years, I've sort of been on the sidelines watching. I'm just so happy to have you as a guest today to share your story and talk a bit about what's where you are today and how you got here.
Okay. Well, Davina, thank you. I didn't see this coming. It was like me and you reconnected a couple of weeks ago. And when you asked me to, be on your show and told me about the podcast, I was like, oh my God, like this will be nice to share my story. And so I'm excited to share. So,
Yes, absolutely.
but when you ask me where am I today, today, as you know, my daughter recently got married. So I have a son that I didn't birth. And so I'm enjoying, watching them grow.
Yeah.
So I am getting used to my new norm.
Okay.
So, mhm.
Well, take us back. Take us back because you have a daughter that just got married. And of course, that is not exactly who we're honoring in this episode.
Yes,
Take us
right.
back and explain to our listeners about your daughters.
Okay. So my oldest daughter, Sakysha, um, I was 20 years old when I had her. And when I had her, me and a couple of my friends were pregnant together. We had our children 4 days apart. It was like
Mhm.
four of us, and boom, 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 all of them. Yeah. So, but however, um, when I had my daughter, I still lived at home with my mom,
Mhm.
and so I had the support, and she helped. But we did not know. My daughter was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and she was diagnosed before she made 1 years old. And usually, what they told us was she may or may not have cerebral palsy because they can't give a diagnosis before one. But we knew that's what it was. So, um, the first reaction that I got from someone was my sister. And so we kind of, first of all, when she was born, we thought she was just perfect, nothing. Like
Yeah.
we couldn't, like, but down the line, started noticing, some different things with her stiffening her body, hands contracted. And this happened maybe when she was like 5, 6 months. And
Mhm.
so went to her pediatrician, and they told us that, we'll do a series of tests. The only thing when she was born, um, there were some concerns with her head circumference. So they take a measurement of head circumference and chest, and it's supposed to be in a certain ratio, and hers wasn't. But still,
Mhm.
the reason why it was like, I think even then, like her personality, who she was, like she was so happy and she just looked like a doll. But her personality, like she was like listen, like when you talk to her, she was so engaged. And so they did have us go to a neurologist. Maybe she was probably 3 weeks. And when he saw her, he was like, "Oh my gosh, she's beautiful." And he was like, "Who sent you here?" And I told him, and he was like, "I don't think anything is going on. No tests were done or anything." But he was like, "She's so alert. She's so aware." And so he was like, "Wow." Like for her to be, and I want to, it had to be like 3 weeks. So later, when I started having the concerns, she got the testing done, got the diagnosis. My mom went with me, and I was fine until I got home. My sister called. My sister was like, um, what did they say? And I told her, and she broke down. And she was like, "No, no, I don't want her to be, disabled." I broke down. And my mom kind of looked, and she was like, "Whoa." She was like, "You can't be sad." And she was like, "She's too happy to be sad." And
Mm.
I think for me, it was that first reaction, like this is what people are going to, they're going to feel, sad that she's disabled. And like trying to explain to my mom, it was like, you know, like I'm going to be sad. You like, this is something, that I would be sad about. But what she did tell me, she was like, look at how happy she is,
Mhm.
because she doesn't have a clue, like something's wrong. Uh,
Right.
and so she was like, let's just always try to make this the best of what it is.
Mhm.
And so that's what we did. But I went to my next appointment. She had some tests done, um, neurologist.
Mhm.
I went to that appointment by myself, and um, they read the results and said that she had microcephalus. And that's where,
Okay.
why her head was smaller when they took those measurements. So what she told me was, most kids with microcephalus are vegetables and wouldn't have any type of quality of life. That, I think hearing that was worse than, oh, she's diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So back then it was no cell phone. So I get on the payphone, call my mom, and I'm crying. And I'm like, this is what she's saying. And she was like, you know what? She was like, get out of there right now. She was like, They are, she has learned from a book. She does not know her personally. She was like, she clearly is not a vegetable. And she was like, do you know what a vegetable is? And I'm like, yeah, someone who doesn't understand. She was like, when she hears your voice, she stops crying. She looks around for you. If your key, you're coming in with your keys. When I asked her, where's your mom? She's turned around. By now, she's like close to a year now.
Okay.
She's like, no, that's not a vegetable. So she was like, you know what? She said, from now on, I'm going to go to every appointment with you. And she did. But when I was pregnant, I was in college. And so I thought I was going to just take off the fall semester. But then with the diagnosis, I was supposed to go back in that January. So my mom was like, you know what? Go back and I'll take her to every appointment. And I'm like, no, I'm not going back to school. I don't want secondhand information about something I don't know anything about. I didn't know anyone. I was the first person in our family to have a child with a disability. I didn't even know what cerebral palsy was, let alone any other disability.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, no, I have to go and learn how to take care of her myself. Um, Sometimes I think back, like, man, why I had that type of support. I wish I could have went to some appointments, but and finished college. But yeah, I mean, everything went the way it was supposed to go.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So as time went on, you start seeing her personality. She had a very strong personality.
Yeah.
Her no meant no. We used to laugh and say, like, does she even know she's disabled? Because she, so we would laugh and say, her chair must be a throne. She thinks she's a queen. And
Yeah.
because her personality, and she
Yes.
was also nonverbal.
Right.
And so a lot of people would say, like, well, she's nonverbal. How do you understand? She got her point across clearly, facial expressions, everything. She I don't know, she watched people intensely and
Mm-hmm.
felt whatever you felt. If you were sad, she'll come right over by you, rub on your arm. And some of my friends, like, if they came over, they were sad and they're like, what is she doing? I'm like, you're sad. And she knows the difference. Like, if pretty much a happy person, but when you come down here and you're feeling something, she's going to go over to you and try to console you.
She had intuition as well. Yeah.
Yes.
She could feel people,
Yes.
probably empathic. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was amazing from what we were told in the beginning,
Yeah.
that most kids with this would be a vegetable. So
But you were set on caregiving, and you spent 33 years doing so.
yeah.
What was that journey like for you?
Woo-hoo. um Being young, in your head, you're like, oh, I got this, I could, whatever. um Later, I ended up having another child, had a Leah, which Sakysha was not happy about.
Oh,
um
really? Oh,
no, because they are 7 years apart. And so the school, everyone knew, I was expecting. And she used to use these pictures for communication on her tray of her wheelchair.
mm-hmm.
So one day, getting her off the bus, and I put her on the bus, get her off, or my mom or family would get her off or whatever. So they're like, they was like, you are expecting right now. I have a belly, but so imagine if I wasn't, because she
Yeah.
told them that I wasn't.
Oh,
And so they kept asking, and they were like, your mom's gonna have a baby. She's like, no. You're gonna be a big sister? No.
no.
And so when they're telling me this, and I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me like, mm-hmm. So now I know, like, oh my God, this is gonna be a problem. And so when Aaliyah was born, Aaliyah's dad brought Sakysha to the hospital. And I'm like, look at our baby. I was like, whose baby? She pointed to him, like, it's his baby. Like, he did this to this family. So I'm like, once we got home, oh my God. But it was amazing to see her be a big sister, because eventually it was like, okay, this baby is here to stay. But to be able to witness that, because I didn't think, at one point, I'm one and done, don't want any more kids. But then once Aaliyah came, and to see her be a big sister, she made sure Aaliyah knew she was the big sister, but she was very protective of her as well. Like,
Okay.
cousins, if they were bothering Aaliyah, like, she's gonna ride up on them, like, no, no. And so
Right.
to
Right.
see that,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God. So, like I say, it's like, you enjoy all that, and I'm young. And what I thought, like, we lived in Chicago, we
Mm-hmm.
moved out of Chicago. So she went to a school that was for children with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we moved to a suburb of Chicago, she's an inclusion. So that's
Mm.
different for us.
Right.
She was the only kid in a wheelchair until she was in high school. And we
Okay.
went there when she started kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
So, big adjustment. And so, when, like, thinking, and of course, now I have moved out, I'm living on my own. I only worked part time for a long time. I didn't work for 5 years due to all of the therapy, doctor's appointments.
Sure.
So then, it's like, okay, I can go back part time. So went back part time, the trying every day, taking care of now 2 kids, working part time, I adjusted. As time went on, and back then we didn't know what the name of it was, I was having anxiety. I ended up working full time in the school district, and I would sometimes get up in the mornings and I couldn't figure out what to do. Should I go get her up first? Should I go take my shower first? Should I make a cup of coffee? And I would be stuck. And I'm like, I just feel funny today. And so I would have to call off and I would send them to school. And I'm like, again, I don't know what it is. And so as time went on, I think it was just uh, I had a lot going on. And then to try and work full time to
Absolutely. Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And now when I lived in Chicago, she went to a early intervention program.
Okay.
I met other parents and we had a parent support group. Um, I had like a community from like 1 years old till she was 5 when we moved. When I moved, I lost all of that. I
Yeah.
lost that community. I didn't know any other parents with children with physical disabilities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm out here. My family, they were as supportive as they could be, but
Mm-hmm.
no one really understood like
Right. Right.
what it was like for me every day. And so
Right.
a lot of people looking in, they're like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. You always keep them up. The girls, like, she has a beautiful smile. And I'm like looking like you all just don't know. Like, and the thing was because her personality was so strong. It's like if she
Right.
said she wasn't gonna do, she really literally meant she wasn't gonna do whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
the battle with the strong personality. And
Mm-hmm.
so learning how, for me, you know, growing up with parents and elders that were like,
Mm-hmm.
they tell us what to do and we do it. She was not that.
Absolutely.
She was
Right.
not. So I had to learn how to be her mother because, and like Aaliyah was very quiet. So like she was much easier. And
Mm-hmm.
Keisha, it wasn't the disability. Like that was,
Mm-hmm.
a different thing. It was that personality. It was just
It
so
was just who
strong.
she was. Yeah.
who she was. And so
Yeah.
I had to let her be who she was. And
Right,
so,
right. Well, and there's so many interesting layers to what you're saying because for
mm,
anyone who listens to this or is listening that is in a situation where they have a child with disabilities, I'm sure they could relate. It's not easy because I think people superimpose what they think their child should be or how they should respond, or they give more credit to the disability than to the child. And
mhm,
I think you were very clearly able from the time she was born to see her
mhm,
personality, to see past
right.
the disability. And that's an act
Mhm,
of love in and of itself. I mean, you literally saw past the disability. I have to
mhm,
flash back to when I came to your home, and we were
mhm,
doing a business venture of which I won't mention, um,
mhm.
but that's how we met. And
Right.
on one of these entrepreneurial ventures, and I had gone to the restroom, and your daughter was in her room. Sakysha was in her room. The door was open, and she was just sitting there, like you said. She was listening to everything, but she wasn't. She didn't come out, but she was just in the
Mm-mm.
middle of the room in her chair listening. And I stopped and I spoke to her, and like you said, it was just a huge smile, like a
Mhm.
huge, like a very welcoming, "Hey, how are
Right.
you?"
Mhm.
And she was nonverbal, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
She was
nonverbal, but
nonverbal, but very cognitive. Like,
mhm,
and a lot of times when they tested, it was hard to test to know unless you like how we questioned,
right.
pose questions to her.
Mhm.
But it was still hard to figure out because, like, someone could tell a joke and, like, Aaliyah would be like, I don't get it. She would laugh, like, she would always get it. And I'm like, wow, like,
Mhm.
but she watched you so intensely. Like, I would always lose my cell phone. My cell phone could end up in the refrigerator, wherever. But she would watch and she would say, like, and so it would be funny. Like, if I'm walking on the phone, I'm just seeing her looking at me. And of course, I lose it. And so I'm like, Keisha, where is my cell phone? She'll ride and, like, you were
Go
over.
right to it.
But and what even if she didn't know, she would tell me every possible place it could be where I was. So
That's
I
something.
know.
Yeah, you could definitely tell her personality was really bright. And she definitely had a higher intelligence quotient than people realized. Her IQ
Mm-hmm.
was there for
Yeah.
sure. But what's really cool, and I know we're going to talk about this a little more. Uh, some people have, your home is your home, but I remember your home was remarkable. And
Thanks.
this really leads into the next part of our conversation. You have an eye for it in organizing, right? And so
Yeah.
that's your business.
Mm-hmm.
But there's I remember your daughter's bedroom was phenomenally beautiful. I mean,
Thanks.
just everything, the design, your whole home was beautiful.
Thanks.
And that's kind of a gift that you
Mhm.
have, I believe, to not only organize, but to decorate and to make everything look like outstanding, very appealing. So, is there a connection between you pretty much as a young woman, but growing up with this responsibility and how you were able, because some people can barely get up and manage themselves,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes their homes look like they can barely. I
Mhm.
mean, no shade on anybody in particular,
Right.
but that's just the reality. Not everybody can even organize their lives,
Right.
let alone their space, their environment.
Mhm.
Yet you created something so beautiful. You talk about your daughter, you thought she might have been on a throne. Well, she lived in a palace. She really did.
Yeah, she would agree to that.
Yes, yes, she was in a palace. So how how did you become this person, Nyla, that you were able to create such beauty amidst so much
Mhm. So
responsibility?
it started with my own mother.
Okay.
So my
Okay.
mother would we were poor. We didn't know it. And we didn't know it because of her. Because she was a single mom, very creative, very smart. Um, we would come home and she's reupholstering our furniture. And I'm like, okay. She would not just move furniture around. It like she just did stuff to a whole nother level, like going to get mirrors cut out to a design how she wanted it to be. And when I would be like amazed, like, man. So she was like, you want to learn how to do this? Like, so I would do whatever, like help her out. So back to when I was saying the anxiety was
Mm-hmm.
happening when I was working. I think, like I say, that's a gift from my mom.
Okay.
I love decorating. I realized what was happening. When I had anxiety, it was a long weekend, a busy week. So
Mm-hmm.
my house was a mess. And so what it was the chaos in my house,
Mm-hmm.
along with
Mm-hmm.
everything else that I had to do on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started like ironing 3 weeks worth of clothes for myself and my two daughters. One week they would wear jogging suits. um, I started meal prepping. I started everything had to have a system in the house to
Mm.
make me not have that anxiety. And so that started helping calm it down some.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
Right.
then I think it was an outlet as well to decorate, to start organizing, because it started making me realize like I'm creative. Like I like doing all this, but that was because a lot of times I couldn't work because if she got sick, she had a lot of surgeries. And so it's like, okay, I can't hold a full-time job down with she had a lot going on. So a lot of times I'm just home. And so I think I ended up making our home our it like peace in our home.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Mm-hmm.
if it was like with colors. You would never see like in my house black, uh,
Mm-mm.
like, and so I
Yeah.
got to a point I started changing my living room, bathrooms, bedroom seasonally. But the colors that I use, me and Aaliyah would both say, like, oh my God, this is our favorite. And then when I'll change again, Aaliyah
Mm.
like, no, 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 this is my favorite. So for the fall, we would do like a burnt orange. Uh, Winter, it would be gray and white. Teal for the spring, mustard yellow. And it's like it put us in a different mood just from colors.
Mm.
And so I'm like, we were like, and I think this is the thing, like being home all the time. It's like I didn't have, whereas, a lot of people, oh, okay, I'm gonna go on a trip. I'm gonna go get a massage. I'm gonna go do other things because of being a caretaker. That was my priority. But
Right.
doing these things made me feel so much, like, man, I like doing this.
I see.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. It became your self care. Your environment is very important to you, and
Yes.
it sounds like it wasn't just important to you, but it's also important to your daughters.
Yes.
Creating. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good.
And I think even like with Sakysha, she went to a day program. Um, and I was used to people always saying, "Oh my God, they're so beautiful. You keep her up so well." And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, don't we all do that for our kids?
No.
But no,
No.
yeah, I know. So,
I'm saying that as a teacher. I know that not all do. I'm just saying.
right. That was important to me
Right.
because I knew people would stare at her. And I wanted to give them something to stare. Like no one would ever be like, man, her hair is always. But even for us, like if we're not feeling good, we've been sick, and we take a shower, we
Mm-hmm.
put some makeup on. It's like, whew,
Mm-hmm.
feeling better. So that's what happened with her. I could watch it. She used to hate getting her hair combed. But then as time went on, like I would come with the comb and all kind of stuff. She go the other way. I'm like, no, 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 no. So I have to shut her chair off. And
Ah,
I'm like, you're sitting here getting your hair combed. And so after a while, I would see her go in her room and she's just looking in the mirror. And I'm like, you like your hair. And then she grew to like it. But I realized like she got so much stuff going on. And with people, you would think this day and age, a lot of people would be more acceptable to, seeing someone with a disability. Like we would be in a store and it would be a child and they're like staring and the mom is pulling them away and like, come on, don't stare. And I would have to stop. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. She had cerebral palsy. Her name is Sakysha. She's this amount of years old. She was born like this, but she understands everything that you say what she likes to do. And so I found myself having to educate people. And a lot of parents, still were like, oh, like it was shameful that the kids were staring, but they're staring because she looks different
she's
than.
different, right?
Mhm.
Right, and they may have questions.
Yes.
You know.
And so what was funny was as Aaliyah started getting older, we moved into a new neighborhood and Aaliyah would like, I would say, come on, we all gonna take a nap. They get into bed with me. I take a nap, but that was just my security. I knew where they, they right here. So Aaliyah finally said, she was like, I think it's you that needs a nap because we never go to sleep. You're the only one that goes to sleep. She was like, can I just take my sister in my room and paint her nails? And, we play. And I'm like, okay. So then she wanted to take her outside with her. And I'm like, I don't know. So I let her take her outside. New kids don't know, her. So little kid, I'm in the screen door and I'm watching. And so he's like, why does your sister hold her hands like that? I'm ready to jump in. Aaliyah says, my sister was born like that. She has cerebral palsy. Her name is Sakysha, right? And blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
She got
okay.
it. Yeah.
So she started, like
Taking
explaining, educating people. And I'm like, wow. And so I think like Sakysha being a part of our life made us be able to be more compassionate with other things, with other people, to educate. And I think even like with Aaliyah, having her older sister um disabled. And so I would, check in with Aaliyah, like, how are you doing? And she's like, I'm good. It was all she ever knew. So it was like, this is our life. Like, I love my sister. Like, I'm fine.
you could tell that she loved her. I mean, no
Mhm.
doubt about it. Very much so. They were
Mhm.
close. You could certainly see
Yes.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Aaliyah is how old now?
She is 29.
Wow. And just got married.
And
Congratulations to her.
yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, their relationship was pretty obvious.
Mhm.
Um I know that you there was a lot over the years, obviously, with you caretaking, and you're almost like superhuman to me that you can do so much at one time. I mean, I know I'm a very busy person and I do a lot of things, but you do so much with excellence, and that to me is just, you know, that's it's incredible. I think you were recently featured in the, what is it, the Voyager magazine?
Phoenix Voyager.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I want people to go check that article out too. I
I'll
thought it
put a
was really
link.
good.
I don't have I forgot to add
We
that.
can share it later then. We can
Okay.
share the link to the notes, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
But yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
So kind of fast forward. Obviously, I know you lost Sakysha. When did she transition?
Um, May of 2023.
Okay, May
Mhm.
of 2023. What was life like after?
After it was hard, but
Hmm.
I will say this. From 2017 up until her passing, her health had started declining.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2022, she got diagnosed with something called gastroparesis, where she couldn't digest food.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So she lost a lot of weight.
Okay.
She her hair fell out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, as I'm, like caring for her, and I was like, oh my God. It starting 2022, like this took me out of my element. Like usually I could, something happened, we deal with it, I jump back in. And 2022 to watch all of this, and it took them 2 months to figure it out. But that was because when you advocate for someone that's nonverbal, a lot of times they think it's just you.
Your
And,
voice, right?
mhm. And so a lot of times, advocating for her, um, they didn't listen a lot. And I kept saying, I'm like, something's wrong with her stomach. And I'm like, because we would go to the hospital, she'll stay, they'll get food down, we'll come home, and we're back the next 2 days. And
Because
this
she
went
couldn't
on
get
for
food.
2 months. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm like, okay, I discharged her out the first hospital because I'm like, you are not listening. And a lot of other things went on at that hospital. So then I go to the next hospital. I'm like, okay, I get they have to do the same test over again. I get that. But when it came to doing the same tests 5, 6 times,
Mm-hmm.
my family was like, we're gonna fly you all back to Chicago. Like, and I'm like, she's too sick. We can't fly her. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so luckily a different GI doctor came on.
Okay.
And I asked, and because no one was listening to me, and I'm like, she's 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, she was 32. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I've cared for her all these years. This is something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, check and see if she has cancer. Check and see if it's her gallbladder. Something is wrong with her stomach. And so
Mm-hmm.
finally, this doctor came in, but she did have a doctor that did not work at that hospital. But,
Mm-hmm.
and this was like after COVID. So,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shortages. So she came over from another hospital. And what she told me, she said, because when she came in to tell me they were getting ready to do the same test for the fifth or sixth time, I'm just looking at her like, and she stopped. She said, what's on your mind? I say, even though I know how sick she is, I'm going to discharge her again. If I have to get on a plane with her, I will take her back to Chicago. I say, because no one's listening. And she said, you know what? She said, I've been out there fighting for you. She said, what I want you to always do is to always advocate for her.
Right.
Exactly what you're doing right now to get
Right.
what it is you need. And here came a new GI doctor and he started the test. Right when he went in with a scope, he saw it right away. But had they did this prior, like 2 months ago, we would have known. But gastroparesis is common in people with diabetes. They don't know why other people get it.
Mm-hmm.
And so some meds work, some don't. So she would have flare ups, and you never knew when
Mm-hmm.
it was going to happen. And so imagine, like not being able to keep your food down, like you're going to lose weight. The hair loss was from poor nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I started telling my friends, and this, I think God has truly blessed us with great community wherever we live. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I have, made connections with people. And so one of my friends, Fanny, me and
Yes.
her
Yes.
talk all the time. And that's what I was like, I feel different. And she's like, what? I said, I can't shake what I'm feeling. And I think I knew I was getting like I thought I was going to lose her then in
Mm.
22 because everything that was happening
Yeah.
would have led to, her passing.
Yeah.
By the grace
Yeah.
of God, she held on.
Mhm. Okay.
And so that feeling never, like, it just didn't leave. And it's
Yeah.
like I was just like living in panic all the time because I didn't know, like, oh, are we gonna have to take her back to the hospital? The meds really wasn't working. We kind of figured out with feedings because she had to get a GJ tube that went directly, like, not to her stomach anymore. And so yeah, a whole situation.
So
So
she was going through a lot
a
too.
lot.
A lot. That more than, and then to not be very verbal, but still, that had to be hard,
Hmm.
you
But
know.
that was the great thing about her, even not being verbal. She could always tell me, like, she had an ear infection one time. She kept saying, she was just crying one day. And I'm like, what's wrong? And my ear. I took her to the doctor, ear infection. She can't
Okay.
verbally say, but
Yeah.
so I was
She
grateful,
communicated. Hmm.
that she was able to communicate her needs and whenever she was in pain. But
Hmm.
I think, like, once before her passing, she went in the hospital. She was complaining about her stomach, her stomach, her stomach. So I'm like, is this a flare up? What? So take her to the hospital. Prior in 2017, she had a bowel obstruction. That's a long story due to some neglect. That's a long story. But however, um, when she went in for gastroparesis, they thought it was another bowel obstruction. So they cut her to go in, and it wasn't. That was in 2022. So now we're in 2023. Take her to the hospital, and they're like, we don't know. Um, we think the GI doctor, which was the same GI doctor that she had seen from the first bowel obstruction.
Hmm.
And so he was like, she only has so much anatomy. I can't cut
Hmm.
on her again. And
Right.
so took her in, I want to say the end of maybe April, the end of April.
Hmm.
And she was in hospital for a month. And so I think her being in the hospital for a month was getting me ready. Like, she was there, like, not coming home and then going back. She was there. And so not coming home kind of started the transition, like she wasn't coming back home.
Oh,
Hmm.
so
And
yeah.
hmm
Wow. I did not know because we had been out of touch. I didn't realize that you were going through all of that. And so then you obviously, after she transitioned, you were a grieving mom.
hmm
What do you what have you what did you learn from, I guess, from this whole experience about who you are today from this? I mean, how did it, because I know that I think you mentioned in maybe in the article or
hmm
maybe in the notes that you sent to me, but you said many people didn't hear your silent cries for help during those years. Talk
because
to
I
me about
think people, like you're saying, oh, you do so much. I'm amazed that you do this, you do that. And unless someone is here around, was around us on a daily basis, then you see behind the scenes.
that. Right.
And so people don't see that with parents that are caretakers to their children or
Hmm.
any caretaker, period.
Hmm.
And so I think people think, like, she got it. Like, she's doing an amazing job. Um, but it's like close friends, they start, like, they listen and they, hear it. But everybody else is like, girl, you got this, and I'm like, I don't,
No.
because I'm human.
Right.
And this is the thing, like my sister said, um, my first Mother's Day, she gave me a card and she was like, I don't know if I could have ever been a mother to a disabled child. I can honestly say, I don't think she said, but God chose the perfect person to be her mother.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
at first it was like, but everything like about this journey with her, it it helped me to I didn't, like my mom said, don't walk around being sad with her. Uh I wanted her to live the best life that she could. And
Yes.
so even with, losing her, someone asked me, like, you didn't think like she would go before you? I'm like, what parent thinks that? Like,
Right.
that's not the order. It
Right.
happens then.
Right.
And so you could never, I don't care. Like, she could have had 1,000 surgeries. Hope was still alive. And I'm like, yeah, she's,
Absolutely.
mm-hmm. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. I
but,
get that.
mm-hmm.
Um,
So go ahead.
no, I was just thinking, sometimes our pain becomes our purpose. And I see that as I'm listening to you, I relate to that. I just feel like, and I know you're writing a book. I want you to talk about the book because I think that that is going to be very helpful for people who are in situations similar to yours. You're in the process of writing a book. How's that going?
It's the early stages.
Okay.
I've collected, notes. And one thing for sure is I think she had an amazing life with her, the limitations that she had.
Yeah.
But being that one, I was the only person in this family with a child with a disability. Somewhere down the line, maybe it may be someone else in this family that her story will be in a book when I'm long gone, and the whole family can learn about who she was. And so also for other parents, caretakers, because when I was in that, when she was in the early intervention program, what I noticed, like, each parent dealt with their child's disability very different.
Right.
Whereas some parents like really kept their kids secluded. Some parents were very angry, yelled at their kids all the time.
Mm.
Um, and I'm like, that's not her story. Like, she got yelled at for behaviors, but not
Yeah.
about,
Yeah. Yeah.
the disability. But
Yeah.
and so I want people to know and to understand, even with that diagnosis of the microcephalus, like, look at this. Like, that wasn't true for her. And
Mhm.
I think it was the way we treated her. And so I
Mhm.
think, like, for parents of, disabled children or
Mhm.
family members, people learn how to treat them. Because I think even, like, I'll say the younger kids, when they, were born meeting her, some of them were, like, oh, like, didn't know how to approach her. And so we had to teach them, educate them.
Mhm.
So, but
Mhm.
also in the book will have our whole journey.
Yes. Yes. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope you'll come back once you're ready and share the book with the
Yes.
listeners, with everyone. I will be
Mhm.
so happy to help promote the book. Talk
Thank
to
you.
me about your business now. I Ford Organizing.
So, um, the magazine that they featured me some couple of years ago when I first started the business.
Okay.
And so they sent it again, like, I'm like, for an update. And I'm like, oh Lord, a lot has happened
Yeah.
since, I started. I started building this business because I had another business that was, we had a sweet tea and lemonade and vegan food.
Yes.
And after COVID, it just, it was a lot of work. And and then her health was declining as well. So I was like, I had to step back. So I started building I for the organizing. And it's funny because like you said, like having an eye for it, it took me forever, like what am I gonna name this business? What? And so Fanny and I was on the phone and she was like, she said, you got an eye for everything. She was like, I don't
Yes.
have that at all. She was like,
Right. I
and so I
relate.
was like, okay. I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
But it
Yes.
was COVID. So
Okay.
I also offer virtual services.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I had to start virtually. And
Mm.
so every time, another obstacle. And so I couldn't fully, grow the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I am working hard on the business, um, more focused on partnering with like assisted living places where people
Mm-hmm.
are having to downsize or cram
Mm.
a lot of stuff into they new
Yes.
living space. uh Helping parents with children with disabilities, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know organizing was a thing. I knew I liked to decorate, but when I started seeing this, and I'm like, asked Aaliyah, I was like, do you think like I'm an organizer or a decorator? She was like, look at our house. She was like, you organize everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
so when nurses would come to the house, that helped me too, because a lot of times I wasn't home. So I had to organize everything from medicine to doing like a command center in her room, everything like, and they're like, oh my God, when we go to other people's houses, it's nothing like this. And they're like,
Right.
thank you so much for, like it makes our job so much easy.
Right.
And so now it's like I have the time. Well, I can't say I have the time. It's like I fit everything in because I work full time. I work in a school again. And
Yay.
so
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, I am building my business.
Yes.
And I don't know. It's like now I'm going on more consultations. And it's funny,
Right.
like going into people's homes and before they even say it. Because I also did get a chance to go back to school for I got a associates in behavior health. I wanted
Mm,
to
nice.
continue and go for counseling, but
Yes.
unfortunately wasn't able to. So that degree and that study helped me study behaviors. And I think that was another part of me as well. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
living with a nonverbal person. I,
Mm-hmm.
observe behaviors all day
Mm-hmm.
long.
Mm-hmm.
So even going into these consultations, looking at people before they even say like, "Oh, I got ADHD," I already could like walk around and I see it. Talking to people, oh, my mom was a hoarder. Oh, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and go to the
Mm-hmm.
house and it's like, are you also like?
Yeah. Right. Right. Know where it came from.
Mhm. So I am learning like I in like when they ask you if it's something that you could do without getting paid, even though I gotta get paid,
Mm. Yeah.
this would be it for me because
It's what lights you up.
it lights me up to
Mm-hmm.
help people
Mm-hmm.
be able, because I know what it felt like when working full time, taking care of two children, one with a disability, um, and my house unorganized.
Mm.
So it's like to be able to go in, like being back to work, because I went back to work 6 months after she passed.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't I hadn't been in school since 2009, and
Mm.
working in the school district.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a culture shock because there were no more books. It was just different.
It's different. Yeah. Are you in an elementary or middle school or
I'm
high
in high school.
school? Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, but what I'm realizing about people working, they're like all over the place, and they're like, "Oh, I got to take off. My house is so unorganized." And so I just sit back and look like I'm a professional organizer. Like I can't.
Yes.
So
Every time I think about my environment, I think about you. One day, I am going to,
we'll get it. Yeah, we'll
yes,
get it
we'll
together.
get it together
Mhm,
because it is difficult. And I know that I'm one of those people that will pile books up and pile papers up and
mhm,
pile up. And you mentioned something earlier that I know to be true is that having systems is so important. And
mhm.
that is where because I understand that from a career perspective.
Right.
I understand that as a teacher how important systems are,
Mhm.
and having being proactive about how you handle things as opposed to having to react to everything. So I get it. But when it's your calling, it's your thing, it's a thing that lights you up, you can do it so much faster. You can
But
come
what's
in.
funny, Davina, about it, because we've been down some journeys of our
Yes.
entrepreneurship, and
Yes, we have.
but I think what I really like now today to look at us, all of us that hung out and started
Yes,
this journey, to see where all of us seem to be living our purpose today.
I agree.
And when I met with one of our friends, and she was like, "What is it that you want?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna rush into this." I was like, I have to figure out me first. And
Hmm.
what is my drive? What is my purpose? Because I don't want to just have a business just to make money. I want to be passionate about it.
Right.
And there it what like it's like here every day, like every day I'm living this. And
Yes.
so I'm like, and it's funny because like you say, when you came to the house, it like my family came to the house when Keisha passed, and some family hadn't been out here, and they're like, oh my God, like I'm
Yeah.
copying this. I'm like, this is what I do. Like, that's fine. They're like, man, like people are kind of surprised by,
Yeah.
but I'm like, it is who God made me to be.
Yeah, like I know we talk about it and people can't really see. I mean, they see a
Mhm.
room that you're sitting in, and even I can tell it's organized.
Mhm.
But it's not just a beautiful clean home. You see the artistry and how you decorate. You see,
Mhm.
the colors, everything like you said comes alive, and
Right.
and then your ideas and the things that you create are that complement your home. All of that is just so beautiful,
Mhm.
and it says a lot. And again, you're right, people, it doesn't line up because
Mhm.
how could you have gone through all that you have all these years, the caretaking and everything you did for your daughter out of love, and at the same time be able to maintain so much? And you have to give yourself credit, you have to pat yourself on the back, because that's why I wanted you on this, because when we talk about voices of resilience, you are probably one of the largest voices I know when
Thank
when,
you.
when you think about resilience, which
Mhm.
is just, I'm so excited that you're able to sit down and talk about it. And there's going to be so much more. um, the book, more features, and I'm also excited that I'm going to have you back on the Ladies Diary, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So for our listeners, we're going to see more of you.
Thank
um,
you.
but your story, I don't even know if we really touched. You can't in an hour.
And I think more like and this is why it's taken a while for the book, because that's like 33 years
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
experiences, life. But every time, as I'm thinking, writing it, like, oh, like, I don't want to forget this, I don't want to forget that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think once the book is done, I think people will totally see the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
especially people that haven't been like close to us, like
Right.
daily basis. Because some people, like, I'm gonna say this about my friend Fanny.
Yes.
When I met Fanny, a lot of you all thought we knew each other for years. I met her moving here. Uh,
Wow.
my sister was moving back home to care for her son,
Mm-hmm.
and we were in church, and Fanny nudges me, and she was like, "Hey," she was like, "What day can me and my girls come over there to learn how to take care of Keisha?" I'm like, "What?" And she was like, your sister is gone. Like, if something happened to you, it's just Aaliyah, a kid. Like,
Oh,
and I'm like, oh my God. And
wow.
so, but the thing is, there's always been those people that connect and see like those things like that. Some people, it's like you have to explain to them, like, because you make this look, like you do this so good. This is hard work, what I'm doing, trying to
Right,
figure out, like, if I am sick, what do I do? And
right.
so for someone to notice that, like, girl, like, we need to learn. And
That is
so,
amazing.
mhm.
Yes. I mean,
And so,
I knew, you're right. I thought you and Fanny went back many years. Because you were such good friends. And,
mhm,
Fanny is also a really great person. So that's
mhm.
really cool to hear.
Mhm.
Um,
Not only, like, I have amazing friends, and that
yeah,
was what I'm saying is my friends that I have been amazing during this journey. But
right.
she is you know, was a
Stand
new
out.
friend. This was
Yes,
early on. That was like the
yes.
first couple of months I knew her, and I'm
And
like,
she
oh, you're
recognized that
a
need.
keeper.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, definitely a keeper.
Hmm.
I often thought about as a mom too, if something were to happen to me, no one understood my son like me. That, of course, is the way I thought when he was
Right.
growing up. That's a layer of anxiety I think that parents have in
Hmm.
general. That if something happens to me, my kids are not going to be loved and treated the way that I would. And so when you add on the fact that you have a daughter with special needs, you're thinking that's above and beyond. It's one thing
Hmm.
for, family to absorb your children and be there for them. It's another thing when the level of need. And although your family seems like they were pretty hands-on. Your sister was
They were,
right there in
and so
Chicago.
I think, like, my mom was
Mhm.
my biggest support. After
Mhm.
she passed, I lost that. So everyone else had to learn.
Mhm.
And this is the thing with being in a family. Some people be like, well, do they do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, everything is not, everybody can't do what I do and be
Right.
comfortable, because
Right.
I have done things that I never imagined that I would do. I know how
Right.
to put a catheter in. I know how to put a feeding tube back in. Like,
Wow.
no one could have ever told me. Sakysha was in the doctor. I can't see live blood. Like, it's crazy. I could do everything else. And one time, something was going on with her, and I got ready to faint, but the doctor saw me, and she was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" And Keisha looking at me like, "Really? Like, you are not?" And so I know my limits. So I feel
Yeah.
like with my family, if they couldn't fully take care of her, like my sister, she helped a lot. I have friends that they're like in-laws, they're my sister's in-laws, family, like a lots of people
That's
have
yeah.
stepped in. Like, one of my friends, I'm working. I didn't have anybody for Sakysha. She was like, I got you. She was like, I take care of my mom. My kids are acting crazy. I need to be home. She was like, I got you. I'll take care of her and my mom. And so it's
That's
like
beautiful.
that community, but it's
Yeah.
like, when I moved, everybody was like, you're not going to have that support. And I was like, it has always, it's happened. I meet people, and it's like the connection, like, there are great people everywhere.
Well,
So,
Nyla, I think, but also I have to give you some credit in that you
mm,
are that person that draws people. You are a positive
thank you.
force. You have a wonderful presence about you. And so I think people were more than willing to step up and be there for you. I know from the day I met you, I always felt positivity. So I
Thank
definitely believe that that had a lot to do with it as well. Because, like you said, there are a lot of parents that are in the same situation that were maybe yelling at kids, frustrated, angry. No shade on those people, but those people had to figure out how to work it out.
you.
And
Right.
I believe you had a handle on it from a young woman. Because when I think about how you said, well, You could have gone back to college, but you decided to step up 100% and be there for your daughter. So for you, it was all, she was the priority, and your kids became your priority. You lived your life. What I like is beautiful now is that you are still able, your kids are grown, or your daughter's grown, and now that you don't have the day-to-day with Sakysha, you have still made it a priority to help people by helping people organize and fix their lives.
Right.
And your environment is a huge part of our lives. And I don't know that people realize that change your environment sometimes can change your life, right? So
Yeah.
you know how to serve and show up in that way.
Mhm.
Um, your story is filled with so much, but I just want to know, what message would you like to leave with anyone listening who's walking through grief, caregiving, or any overwhelming life changes?
Mhm.
What's your parting words of advice to those people?
I think it's a process day by day. It is not well, I've grieved. Uh it's a journey.
Hmm.
Um I did go to therapy. Um
Hmm.
that was very important because a lot of people don't believe in therapy,
Yeah.
and feel like, I can handle this on my own. Therapy helped a lot. And I am still, I'm not, I don't have therapy anymore, but I just have not had the time to get into a support group
Hmm. Hmm.
because of, like I explained to my sister when she lost her son, I'm like, no, well, when I lost Keisha, I was like, no disregard to anyone who has lost their child. Some people lose their kids like 30s, 40s, whatever. My whole life was my child.
Hmm.
And so the hands on every day, it's like I have to create a new life. All of my adulthood has been this. And
Yes.
so it's important for me to stay in get into a support group, the
Absolutely.
therapy, um, building community, for, like, I mean, do I still have my days? Of course.
Hmm.
And just recently, past some, I lost my sister, my only sister.
Mm.
So we are back in this grieving process.
Mm.
Uh,
Hmm.
like what? So, and she passed the day, they like a day apart. My daughter and my sister, like
Oh,
2 years difference.
wow.
So I'm like, oh my God. So it's like, I'm thinking, okay, here pushing through. And then my sister passed the day before my daughter, the same date,
So the anniversary dates for the two are back to back, which
back to
means
back.
that is something you will deal with forever. Yeah,
Mhm. Well, no,
absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, they are, that was the birth dates. I mean, the death dates. So I'm
Right.
like, so that's why I'm saying I feel like, making sure
Yeah.
people understand it. It's not something to try and figure out on your own, because I did
Mm-mm.
for years, figured this life out. I didn't do therapy during caring for her. Uh, I did a lot of listening to motivational things,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
changing things in my life that, helped me push through a day, but it wasn't therapy. And I knew for sure that was the best thing that I could have did for myself, is to get some therapy, to learn
Yes.
my new,
Yes.
like, what do I do now? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mhm,
That's wonderful advice. I have this has I feel like we could talk for so much longer. We've gone over an hour.
mhm,
I want to thank all of the people who sat through and listened,
mhm.
and those who will replay in the future. And this will be out there for a long time, forever and ever, Nyla.
I
Um,
appreciate it so much, Davina, you
yeah,
asking me to speak. I was kind of nervous, but like I say, if I can go on and on for hours, especially talking about, I did this 33 years. I could,
yeah,
write a book.
Well, right, right. And this is why I love this. This is what lights me up, is giving people an opportunity to share their voice and to express how they were resilient, because I'm always hoping that there are
Mhm.
people listening
Right.
who need what you have to say. And each guest that I have on, I also do the coach's corner, which is more instructional, more,
Mhm.
giving tips and things like that, and people sharing expertise. But voices of resilience is important to me because I know that there's always people looking for hope. There's always people
Right.
looking for someone to say the right thing that can give them a tip of how to move on the continuum of life. And
Right.
I'm one of those people. I'm searching all the time for good stuff. I also
Mhm.
am a motivational junkie. I love all that. And like you said, we've been grinding for years. I know we have. We've
Yes.
because I think we were on our path. We just kept stopping off at different junctions trying to
Right.
figure out,
Right.
is this the right thing? Is this the right? No,
Right.
no, that wasn't. Okay, keep going. The important thing is, and I implore people, stay on the path. Keep
Yes.
moving. Don't give up, because you will get where you need to be. And so it's been wonderful having you.
Thank
As I
you.
say, hang on. I want to talk to you backstage. But
Okay.
anything else you want to say to our listeners? This
No,
is perfect.
we have some links. You guys
Yes,
can follow me.
yes, yes.
Look at and the video. I don't know if we talked about that. I have some digital planners I listed up there
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
Great,
But
great.
follow and I don't know. I just thank you
So
so
you
much.
don't have a YouTube right now, but you probably will have a
I
YouTube.
would love to one day, but it's like I feel like I got so many irons
I
in
know,
the
I
pot.
know.
So I'm like I would love to have a YouTube channel, and especially to for parents and caretakers.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. Well, that's something we probably can help you with here at
I'm sure.
Iron Sharpen Iron Universe, because we like to sharpen iron as iron. Anyway, you get it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to say to all of our listeners again, thank you so much. Next week, it will be the Coach's Corner, and I'm excited for that guest. But you'll see it. Just stay tuned. I'm always making sure that I put out there who's going to be up next. But you have not seen the last of Nyla Wright. By the way, I'm not sure if we're kin, Nyla, because my maiden name is Wright also.
Look, I know. And whenever I meet another right, that's what they say. I'm like, who knows? My dad was adopted. So I
You never
don't
know.
know.
You never know. Right.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah.
okay. All right.
All
Well,
right.
again, thanks everyone. I'll see you in a moment, Nyla.
All right.
And until the next episode.
All righty.